Hey, Mark Rodriguez here. You're watching America's #1 cure for insomnia, the Diving Total Wrestling Podcast. And as usual, I'm not alone. With me are
William White, a.k.a. Ninja Panda 1980.
Jack Knives from Jack Knives Reviews.
Wendy here, also known as Ninja Jupi or Jupi Chan or whatever you would like, but it's not about me. It's about the man of the hour with the hat shoe and all that and the caramel chips, the pizza Pokeball.
Rodriguez.
Oh boy. Okay, guys, so they were going to be going into the Forbidden Door 2023 edition, which thankfully this year we don't have as many people that are injured what happened last year, right? So before we go into those predictions, which would be tough because a lot of them were like versus the mysterious third man, we'll see what we could do. We got some news here and there. So I'm sure y'all want to talk about Collision. I haven't seen it just yet, but I got it. I'll watch it sometime tomorrow. But I'm sure you guys, everyone knows about the return of CM Punk, and you know there was much rejoicing.
Wait, who's CM Punk? I don't know this guy. I never heard of him before. I mean, okay. I wasn't really interested in whoever this guy was like 10 years or so ago when he delivered a pipe. You know, I don't know this guy.
Yeah. So any quick thoughts, you guys, or any other news that might be happening?
Well, I'm happy that he's back personally because, like I said, hearing his promo again, hearing him do a promo again, even though it was a little, I will say it's a little shaky compared to his normal promos, but it warmed my heart to see him again. I'm like, oh God, it's like a Febreze of a turd, like a Febreze after a big turd. Because like we haven't had a good, like legit good promo on AEW in so long. Like it feels so manufactured, but when Punk talks, he's like, it's one of the reasons I love him and Jay. The one thing that makes Jay and Punk so good is they don't need to lie or manipulate. They just, here's how it is. Here's what I think. Boom. And I love that. And I replicate that every time I'm on this podcast.
Well, I haven't seen Collision yet, and I'm eventually going to watch it. Tomorrow I definitely can't, but who knows? But yeah, I did watch the CM Punk's promo because I mean seriously, anyone who knows CM Punk or was actually a fan of him, who wouldn't watch it even if they missed Collision, right? I love that promo. I was like, oh my God, everything I like about CM Punk is in this promo. And then I had to calm myself down, say, you know what, I'll wait. I'll watch it later. I'll see CM Punk later. Then he showed up on Dynamite this past Wednesday. We'll see. He's going to be a Collision as well. We'll see how things go. I'm curious. My curiosity is piqued.
Yeah, I'm actually glad to see him back. And yeah, given it wasn't as sharp as some of his other ones, he did cut a damn good promo that night. I am definitely waiting to see what's going to happen next. But yeah, I'm glad to see him back. And apparently the fans were, because they were yelling just as loud as they were when he came back last year. So there you go.
But to be fair, it was Chicago, wasn't it?
Yeah, that is true. That is true. They did put him in front of the entire crowd. So.
Now, has there been any other wrestling news lately of any other people, you know, in or out or whatever?
Well, there is some news going on recently. Well, first of all, a little bit of things going on in Japan. A lot of things going on in Japan, including in Stardom, Tam Nakano winning both the World and Wonder of Stardom, making her the second ever to do that. On top of that, they're starting to do more of a branching. They're actually proving that there's more of a market towards the Joshi wrestling into the States, which is actually like bringing in more of a crowd. And they're estimating, according to the Wrestling Rumors, that some point between now to next year's Forbidden Door, there's rumors that next year it could be a New Japan AEW Stardom Forbidden Door. That's the rumors. Again, nothing set in stone. And if that's the case, AEW's women's division definitely has to step up. On top of that, this upcoming month is my favorite time of year. It is tournament season. It's the G1 Climax 33 this year, and it's going to be a whopper, including the first time ever Eddie Kingston is going to be a part of the G1 Climax. It's going to be very interesting because it is literally a tournament based around endurance as opposed to a regular tournament where it's a single elimination. In the G1 Climax, it is literally everyone has to fight, period. So if it's going to have 9 matches per bracket, each person in each bracket has to fight each other at least once. And it's all based on points. Whoever wins gets the grand prize of main eventing Wrestle Kingdom. And on top of that, it's just going to, like, there's so many other things going on in wrestling with Japan really influencing. And of course, there's this show, Forbidden Door, which is my all-time favorite New Japan and AEW crossover. I mean, what more could you want? And I'm so hyped for this. I can't wait to, this one is going to be so much bigger because it's not just the first time they're going to have a New Japan pay-per-view set in Canada. It's also the first AEW pay-per-view that's outside of the US, technically. So yeah, it's really going to be huge.
Now, 2 things. Number one, anyone else we would know besides Eddie Kingston is going to be in the G1 Climax 33?
Well, there's going to be Okada. There's going to be Hiroshi Tanahashi, Tomohiro Ishii, the Pitbull. There's going to be a lot of different names. A lot of people that you're going to see at this show are going to be in the tournament. So Shota Umino, who's a new upstart, you're going to get to see him later in the Forbidden Door. There's going to be quite a few people that are going to make a name for themselves. But as I said, what's so great about the G1 Climax, and of course, Will Ospreay is also going to be in it. What's so awesome about the G1 Climax is it's literally, as opposed to say like a King of the Ring or you have to earn your spot. Basically, the G1 Climax is open for anyone who thinks they have the courage to participate because it's purely based on endurance, skill, and ability. So that means this year we're going to have not just rookies in their first year. We're going to have veterans. We're going to have champions. And we're going to have so many different things going on in New Japan. And it's, like I said, it's exciting. I think Lance Archer might also be in it this year, too. So there's going to be quite a lot of different things going on. And like I said, depending on one of the outcomes, there could also be a significance in what I believe could happen in the G1 Climax. But I'll get back to that when we get further into the show.
So the last thing I want to bring up before we actually start is you were at a Joshi event, Joshi Pro Wrestling event. And can you name some of the people? Because I'm going to be putting the pictures as you mentioned them. So name some of the people you met, and I'll post them as we hear them.
Yeah, so it's a smaller, newer, independent Joshi wrestling promotion. They've only done 2 shows. The first one was in Newark, New Jersey. The second one was here in California. And it is called Joshi Spark Puro Resu. So it's kind of like an independent circuit that they're trying to start out. And as we all know, some of the best promotions start out as small indie circuits. Look at Ring of Honor and look at TNA. So it was cool to get to be a part of that and see that. The main event was Saki from Cosmic Angels versus Ram Kaichou. I got to meet Saki. She was super, super sweet. I also got to meet Ram Kaichou was like, so like, she was like really, really, really sweet. And she actually ended up winning and becoming the first Pacific champion of Spark Pro Wrestling. So yeah, I got to do that. I also, of course, the cutest in the planet, Maki Ito, was there. Her line was like a conga line around the ring. I got to see, there's so many other people I got to meet.
Trisha Dora.
Trisha Dora. I got to meet Trisha Dora. I told her that I'm a huge fan and I've followed her career since pre-Ring of Honor. And now that she's a part of the New Japan Academy, I'm really looking forward to more things from her. Let's see. I also got to meet Viva
Van, I think.
Yeah, Viva Van. Viva Van, I got to meet her. She was so super chill. I got a great signed picture from her, so that was really cool. There were so many other people I got to meet that I was just like I said, they were all sweet, all kind, and it's cool to see this kind of draw of women's wrestling, because even though they're all from different independent circuit, they're all taught in the Japanese Joshi style, which is more based on strong style, ability, agility, endurance, as opposed to a lot of American women wrestling where it's more of just like kind of, I hate saying it, but it's kind of more about looking good than it is about performing well. And I'm not trying to say slant. Yeah, exactly.
On that one, I understand that completely, which is why women wrestling wasn't taken too seriously over here for so long. I mean, like I know some of the old Japanese style wrestling with the women, and they've been doing stuff for decades. We are like so in Japan when it comes to women's wrestling. They took it seriously. They did it like a sport. Here is like you look good in a bathing suit.
You look at women wrestling back in the 90s, and you can find a lot of art, a lot of videos, but a couple I would recommend. Absolutely the absolute greatest women's wrestler of all time, and even other women's wrestlers said the same thing. Minami Toyota, one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time. She literally revolutionized the concept of what if women could do high-speed wrestling? What if women could do high-flying wrestling? No one had ever done that prior to her level.
But what about the fabulous movie?
Oh, God, don't get me started on her.
One last thing. I guess it's too soon to see if it's news or not, but lately on the social media, AJ Lee has been posting pictures of herself looking absolutely jacked. She's been working out, but there's no real news on, is she going to go back to the ring? Is she going to like maybe wrestle in her WOW promotion or someplace else? But it is noticeable. She's been hitting the weights. She's been looking pumped.
Who knows? I mean, let's be honest. One of the best things about wrestling is how many times have we been surprised by things that we never thought would be possible ending up happening?
Yep.
Speaking of, there's
tomorrow, Holster versus Ric Flair wheelchair match.
Cool. There's one more announcement that was made, but it's still questionable. Now, sources have found out that in the next AEW pay-per-view in Wimbledon, there's going to be a possible former WWE wrestler coming in. Now, the question is, who? Now, two of the sources that have come up have been Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Bill Goldberg.
Yes, I've heard that.
We've heard that, what's his face? The non-blinking one has been talking to Goldberg for a while now, so that's kind of like...
haven't they been saying that since like 2020 that they were going to have Goldberg? First it was Ryback, then it was Goldberg, now it's back to Goldberg again.
Yeah, but this time Goldberg like found a stash to use to convince Tony, so...
If he wants to be taken seriously as a professional wrestling promoter, he would not hire Bill Goldberg.
So in other words, welcome Goldberg.
True. There's also one bit of news leading into Forbidden Door, and that is the rumor that allegedly Bryan Danielson is actually injured. And that's why he hasn't been on TV wrestling as often as he has the past couple weeks. If that is the case... And again, it could be that, or honestly, it could be either that or he's trying to prep himself prior to Okada, because you do not just walk into a match with Okada. Okada is one of the greatest of all time. He will dissect you like a surgeon. So I honestly think it's more of that level because, to be fair, most of Danielson's opponents haven't been to his caliber of wrestler.
Oh, they've been amateurs, you would say?
Amateurs, yes. Amateurs.
Because the thing is, like, I don't know, the last episode of of Dynamite really ended with him finally calling Okada out and Okada finally showing up, and it would suck to do all that and then like, he's injured, so
Well, no, that's the rumors. Like I said, it's just a rumor as of right now. There's nothing. I don't think it's significant. It's a significant injury. I think it's just that they were like, okay, let's hold him back from actually straining himself too much until we know what we're dealing with kind of thing.
Yeah, I think they're trying to play it safe so that this year it's the forbidden door and not the emergency room door like it was last year. So that could be it. But yeah, you're right. I did notice that they've had him a lot more on commentary when the Blackpool Combat Club came out, and the spots that he did do were pretty safe spots. So, he may not be injured. He may just be resting up because, like you said, one does not simply fight against Okada. I mean, it's not something you do. That's
guys, it's okay. It's okay. You know what? If Danielson can't do it, we'll just replace him with Jeff Hardy. It'll be just as good. Putting Jeff Hardy in a main event, what could possibly go wrong? Honestly. Come on, guys. Come on.
Well, we already know Jeff is not going to be there, so for obvious reasons.
Okay, so anyways, guys, let's start the predictions here. And as usual, we do a prediction, and then we compare, for the new listeners here, we do our predictions, we all give our reasons and say who we think is going to win. And then after the event has passed, we do another podcast, we review it, and we also go over like who won, who got it right, who got it wrong, and all that good stuff. And I don't know, whoever loses this time, they'll have to spend 5 nights at Freddy's. They're hiring. You must take an application, and best of luck to you. So we'll see what happens here. So we got a couple of matches here. We got the Owens Hart Cup tournament going on again, and for both the men and the women. So just started off real quick. First match we got, which is kind of it's one of the pre-show matches, or what they call nowadays a 0 hour. Athena, which is the current Ring of Honor champ, versus Billy Starks, and it's round 1 match of the women's version of the Owens Hart Cup tournament. Of course, I'm going to go with Athena. No offense to Billy Starks. She's cool. She's got some good experience there. I mean, it's just kind of a showcase to her, for the wider audience. It's going to be like, who, if anything, this is her chance to have people recognize her. But, it's going to be Athena. Athena and our heelish glory, because she's loving it, man. She's having a blast being a heel.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. I think Athena's gonna win it, mainly because, Billy Starks, even with her career, a lot of people like main marks in AEW don't really know too much of who she is. And I kind of feel like, yeah, this will be their opportunity to get to know her, but she's not going to win, but you're going to potentially see what she can do. She's demonstrating what she can do in this match. But, like you said, Athena's having a hell of a time with the heel run. I'm enjoying it. Everybody else is enjoying it. It was long needed. I say Athena for the win.
I'm going to go with Athena as well, mostly because of the fact that, like I said, I do like Billy Starks. I think she has a lot of potential. I've been following her. She's one of those kids you got to look out for in those diamonds in the rough right now. But it's mainly to do with the fact that Athena is currently undefeated in Ring of Honor. She's never lost a single match. She's still the champion. And on top of that, I feel, at least from a story perspective, they're going to build Athena winning. And then if you look at the bracket above her, it's Willow versus Willow Nightingale. I forgot who against who. And I feel like they're going to build a whole Willow's going to win that match, and then Willow's going to beat Athena, and then that'll build into a Ring of Honor title match. That's what I'm assuming. Yeah. That, or worst case, Athena beats Willow and gets a New Japan Strong Women's title match because she's also a champion. So I don't know. I just feel it's going to build to a title versus title match later down the road. But that's just my prediction. So I'm going to go with Athena. Plus, I said, nothing to get against Billy Starks. I think she's fantastic, and I think she has a lot of potential, but she's just, I don't think they're going to bet their chips on her as opposed to Athena.
Yeah, I am going to have to go with Athena on this one as well because, like you said, she's undefeated so far. She's the heel. And if anything, they're probably just setting this up to just show what Billy Starks is made of and just try to, show all of her good moves while also keeping Athena strong. So I couldn't see her losing, and not in a pre-show either. Maybe it was like in the actual pay-per-view. I mean, why would you show Athena losing for free, you know, on a free portion of a show. When you say, or anyone losing a title on a free portion of a show with something like as long as Athena's been going with this title, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think Athena's gonna, you know, just, you know, she's gonna win and all that other stuff because it's Athena. And he's gonna try to hit someone in the head. Now, and I do like the idea of her going up against Willow for having like a whole title versus title match thing because I really like Willow. So let's see how that goes. And I do like Athena.
Me too. I love them both. That's why I'm like, oh, I love you both. Damn it.
Okay, everybody already commented, right? So I'm also gonna go with Athena because she's much more well known. Like everybody knows who Athena is by now. She's a powerhouse. I like how she's like a big heel. I like the way she performed in the ring as well. So I don't know. I think Athena's gonna win this one. I mean, it's a no-brainer for this one. Definitely Athena. Plus, it'd be fun to see her beat up Biddy Starts, and then you know she's gonna be like, you know, she always does that thing. So that's gonna be fun. That I butchered Athena's laugh because I made it sound like she's like an old witch.
Okay. Stop smoking the stash, Johnny. So anyways, yeah, this is definitely all Athena here. So we're gonna follow up with the next match, even though I'm not sure this is probably, well, no, this is gonna probably be in the event because, you know. So for the men's Owen Hart Cup tournament first round match, surprisingly we got CM Punk versus Satoshi Kojima, and I'm sure Satoshi's pretty awesome and stuff, but I'm gonna go with Punk because it's too soon from his comeback for him to lose a match. You know what I mean? Obviously, they'll probably make it like, you know, they fought till bloody murder, whatever the hell, but I'm pretty sure CM Punk's going to win because it's too soon after his return. And I can already hear the marks and the smarts all like, oh my God, they're already burying him. They brought him back and they're already burying him and that kind of shit. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I
they're
think
going to take the safe route on this and be rather safe than sorry. I mean, let's face it, CM Punk is on the start of his little comeback tour, and they are not going to let him lose to Kojima. Given all respect to Kojima, fantastic wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say this. He's going to win, but they're going to beat the living hell out of each other. It's going to get ugly.
Oh, definitely.
It's probably going to be worse than it's probably going to be right up to par with the MJF dog collar match that they had. It's going to get really rough. I will agree with that, but Punk is going to end up winning this one. I mean, he just came back. And like you said, the AEW marks would have a Jimmy Cornette-style heart attack if Kojima won it at this point.
I agree. I mean, the thing of it is Kojima is over 30 years experience in the wrestling industry, especially in Japan. And I mean, hell, he's even technically considered a grandmaster in New Japan's dojo. So he actually trains some of the young lions. But the truth of it is I think it's more to do with they want to have a really good match with a established veteran in the Japanese style to promote the Japanese style. And it's more along the lines of, I think what it is it's going to be less of a matter of Punk winning and more of Satoshi wringing out the ring rust like a cloth, like a washcloth. And he's going to polish the hell out of Punk and like, let's get the barnacles off of you. And I think that's what Kojima can do because Kojima is so good at just filing down someone and getting them to break through. And, again, Kojima's not going to win. Let's be honest here. Let's call a spade a spade. It's not going to be Kojima to win. It's going to be Punk. And obviously, I, like you said, I think it's going to be a great match. I think it's going to be really cool to, get to see two guys fight each other that have I think collectively over 55 years experience wrestling in the industry. So it's going to be a cool match in either way. But again, there's absolutely no way in hell, unless, knock on wood, something crazy happens, I don't see Punk losing this match.
So this is the bracket, right? And because this is my first time, what was this? This is my first time ever seeing like this type of pay-per-view. So this is kind of new to me. So all the matches are like just normal rules and everything for each match.
Yeah, so normally the Owen Hart Cup is basically just a regular tournament. And they established it last year. And last year, the crown winners and the finals matches were at Double or Nothing, but then, or no, 2 years ago. And they haven't had it last year. I don't remember why they didn't do it last year. I couldn't remember, something was going on. But this year, they're basically starting it at Forbidden Door. And then that way it coincides where the final match and the winners will be crowned in Quebec in the arena, in the old Stampede arena that Owen Hart used to wrestle in. So it's basically just a basic tournament of, like I said, 4 regular matches. So, or 5 regular matches.
Okay, but knowing that, my answer is still gonna be CM Punk regardless. But I just wanted to know that. Just wanted to know that bit of information. I was just curious. But yeah, CM Punk is probably gonna win because, as mentioned, he's just come back. Why would you let him lose that early? It's like Saraya, they didn't let her lose. She just vanished into thin air for some reason, So, and Punk is back. He said, you heard him. This is a business. All that stuff. He's going to put Detroit and AEW over, man. That's what he's back for. They're not going to let him lose. And you got it, like you said, you got the AEW fans that really miss him, or just fans of wrestling in general that, remember from back in the day that probably brought them back into wanted curious about AEW. You think you're going to have him lose on a free portion of the show? No. They got to wait a while on that. So yeah, CM Punk. All right, Johnny, take us home.
Yeah, I agree with everybody's verdict. I think it's going to be CM Punk winning because, let's face it, CM Punk have been out of the arena for a long time, for a while. So, for him to come back and to make such a big deal that Tony Khan pretty much begged for CM Punk to come back, pretty much. To promote the new show, and then to do this whole pay-per-view thing. There's no way that CM Punk is just going to lose out of all the hard work that it takes, contract him again to do this whole thing again. So, and not only that, but the fans are going to lose their shit if he loses the match. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be like, me personally, I want CM Punk to win, but at the same token, like if he loses the match, I'm not going to make a big deal out of it like that either to that point. So, I guess, some of the marks, they just take it to a whole other level. But yeah, CM Punk is going to win the match. I don't think nobody should worry about, oh no, CM Punk's going to lose a match. Oh my God. No, he's going to win the match. There's still going to be CM Punk for a while. So there's that.
Right, one last thing before we go. I noticed something that I don't know if anyone watched this upcoming Dynamite. Punk said something that I don't know if he was meant to say it, but he said it in leading up to, like, because he was challenging the Bullet Club Gold and all them and all that stuff. He said something that made me think what everyone is saying is true, which is that Dynamite and Collision are going to be 2 separate brands, because he said, I'm not even supposed to be here. I'm a Collision guy, which confirms kind of what everyone has been saying. It's like, oh, it literally is a separate brand. Like it's going to be the Raw, the SmackDown to the Raw. I'm like, okay.
But if it's true about the whole thing with the young Bucks, with the Young Bucks, and how he said he doesn't want to work with them, And they're mostly on Dynamite, I could kind of see it if that's like part of the deal of him coming back.
Probably.
If that's
Makes
actually
sense.
true.
Well, anyway, just wanted to bring that up real quick before I forget.
So we're going to see all of the matches here real quick with, I think I saw that on a screen cap or something about that. Like, that's interesting. But, I mean, it gives them more to do because CM Punk and Andrade and Miro, like, they need more exposures. That should help them out. So anyways, let's see here. Next match, we're going to leave all the championship matches till the end, and there's like a shitload of them. So the next match I can see here that's not a championship match is Daniel Bryanson or whatever. Bryan Danielson. Did I get it right the first time? Whatever.
Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, American Dragon versus Okada. I would say Okada, so I'm butcher his first name. But anyways, I don't know. I'm gonna probably go for Okada for this one. I know they're really rooting and all that stuff for Bryan, but I mean, if he really is injured, even just a smidge, I'm gonna give it to Okada.
Even if
I'll
he
let everyone
wasn't
else
injured a smidge, I would give it to Okada still. I mean, let's just be real. The guy's a beast. You've seen what he's done against Kenny Omega multiple times, and those guys have pushed themselves to their freaking limits. If anything, they should have put Kenny on that card. But I digress. It is what it is. But still, now Kenny, Bryan Danielson, many accolades to him. He has not fought a wrestler of that caliber. Like, he's fought some decent wrestlers, but nobody as tough as him. There's no way that he's going to win this one. None at all. So, yeah, I'm definitely giving it to Okada, hands down.
I'm going to let everyone else go, and I'll say my.
So what you're saying is Okada's not an amateur.
Fuck him.
Okay, well, I'll go since Jack he's going to give his epiphany at the end. So I was going to go with Okada because, well, like I said, I'm not as well versed as you guys with most of the wrestlers, especially the Japanese ones. I might know them by name or by reputation, but I couldn't say, oh my gosh, I saw this match or I saw that match. And he was great and he was one, all that. But I was going to go with Okada for actually the same reason that Mark did. The rumors about oh my gosh, I keep going to jump back to the American Dragon.
Danielson. Yeah, just Dragon. Just say American Dragon. Just say that. It's easier.
With the dragon here. No, with him, with Bryan Danielson, him being injured and, the fact that he hasn't done anything these past few weeks and he's just been doing commentating. And, so if he is injured in any way, I could see him losing because of that. So that way they can write him out and say that Carter messed him up so bad he has to, rest or something like that. So that's what I think. That's where I think that was going to go. And anyway, in general, no matter who he was going against, I would say the same thing.
Bryan can get the American Dragon medallion and stuff and beat him with the martial arts and the spinning hurricane kick and stuff.
Okay, how about you, Johnny?
Yeah, I agree with everybody. Even without me knowing who, again, I want to butcher the first name, Okada.
Okada. Just say Okada. It's easier.
I think I could say his first name, but I still don't want to butcher it because people are going to get mad at me. So,
is it Kazuchika Okada? Is that right?
Yes, that's actually the problem. Yes, thank you. Because there's a guy in the English commentary in Japan. He's a British guy named Chris Charlton, and he butchers his name because his name is Kazuchika. It's not that hard, Kazuchika, but he says Kazuchika. I'm like,
Kazuchika.
No.
See, that's how I feel when I hear stuff like that. It drives me insane.
Caprese sandwich Okada. No, it's Okada.
So say,
I think he does that. I think he does that on purpose because he knows Okada can hear him. Because there was one match where he was putting a rainmaker on a guy, and big rainmaker, he just stared at him. He's like, you just watch his arm come across, and he's looking at him like, this is you someday.
Sorry, Johnny. Go ahead. Sorry.
Anyway,
You
so I
got it
don't
right there.
again. Okasa. You see me messing up his last name. I think Okada's gonna win the match because even without me knowing his, wrestling style or whatever, I still think just in general, Bryan Danielson, to me, he just seems like a very safe wrestler. He's like, I'm not saying he's bad, but he's not extraordinary either. And the fact that he's also injured, it gives more of an excuse of him losing the match because of his injury. They gotta kind of make it look convincing that because, hey, Okada, that's how badass he is. He beat him up that good that, hey, Bryan Danielson, he couldn't make it and he's beat up and hey, they gotta, kind of like what Wendy said, they'll kick him out of the storyline for a little bit until he kind of recuperates from the injury. So I think Okada's going to win the match just for that reason alone.
I've been thinking a lot about this, and it's really because this is going to be the main event. I believe this is going to be the main event because this is the dream match that you have two guys who literally basically everyone copies. I mean, that's their legacy. Everyone has copied their style. And the thing of it is Okada, how do I explain this? Okada's style is about power and endurance. Like he is literally strong style incarnate.
Yeah, he's the personification of strong style.
Him, Shinsuke, and Ace were known. There's 5 guys that are established as basically the avatars of what strong style is, and 2 of them you guys have seen wrestle, which is Tanahashi and Shibata. Shibata is the truest of strong style, but Okada is in that same vein. Like Okada literally is so fucking tough. He is legitimately considered the greatest wrestler of all time. Of one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, if not the greatest wrestler of all time. He is, okay. Shibata, as many people may know, he headbutted Okada so much that he caused a brain bleed and he still couldn't beat him. Yeah, that's the match that killed him, was against Okada. Kenny Omega had to fight him 3 times and still couldn't beat him and had to take a 4th time and took 70 minutes to beat Okada. That's how tough Okada can get. Jay White, though, has a record of beating him. So anyway,
How about where does Nakamura fit and with the strong style people or whatever?
Shinsuke is in the same vein. Shinsuke is the 5th person I was talking about. Shinsuke is actually considered like the ultimate boss. He's the Hulk Hogan of New Japan, essentially. Not the Hulk Hogan. He's more of the Austin of New Japan because he created this concept of like establishing, what if I took the concept of entertainment? A pure entertainer would be Tanahashi in the Japanese style. And then a pure wrestler would be Shibata. And then he goes, what if I combine the two? And you get Shinsuke Nakamura. So basically Shinsuke Nakamura, literally everyone goes, oh, I want to be this kind of wrestler, this kind of wrestler. Shinsuke went, I want to be the Michael Jackson of wrestling in the sense of I want to be an entertainer for everybody. And I'm like, but I want to beat the shit out of everybody. Anyway, getting off track. The thing with Okada is one of the 2 strongest things about Okada, and the key thing that makes him so good is that he has this insane, ungodly amount of endurance. He can last so long. His average match time is somewhere between 30 to 48 minutes on average. Yeah. And he had the record. He currently still holds the record for longest reign of the IWGP World Championship, Heavyweight Championship, and most defenses of that title, and most times winning that title. He has all 3 records. So it's like, but here's the thing that makes it interesting though. Danielson is also an established wrestler who is known for his endurance. His entire style of wrestling is about timing. He gets you to weigh out all of your energy and then he kicks it into overdrive into a submission. But the problem is Okada, his style is simultaneously not pretty, but it doesn't need to be. It's consistent. He is the equivalent of chopping, like imagine a person who's able to cut a redwood with a fork. That is Okada. Not in one swipe, just consistently like bam, 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 bam. And you're like, is this guy ever going to stop? And like 5 days later, just he's like cuts it down. You're like, holy crap, he actually did it. That's Okada. His finisher is literally the Rainmaker clothesline is literally a ripcord clothesline. Every time you've seen anyone do a ripcord where you grab the wrist, he goes behind you, grabs your wrist, twirls you around, and clotheslines you. And then here's the thing. He hangs onto your wrist. You knock down, he gets you back up, and he does it again, and he does it again, and he does it again. So when you see whenever you saw Kenny do the grab the wrist thing, and he did the V trigger, he took it to fight. He created that to fight Okada. Any person you've ever seen grab a wrist, they got it from Okada. Because they literally said, if he gets your wrist, you're fucked.
Speaking of Kenny and Okada, right up until AEW, I don't know if anybody else has done it, but you were talking about his toughness and his resiliency. Okada has been the only guy to kick out of the One-Wing Angel.
Yep, he's the only person ever to kick out of it. Actually, no, that's not true. There's two. It's him and technically Jericho, but Jericho was literally, he was under the ropes. So technically he did. But as far as fully kicking out, Okada's the only one. But what's so funny is here's like, this is how established he is as a wrestler. Okada at this past Olympics, the 2020 Olympics in Japan, he was asked to carry the Olympic torch as a representation of Japan's athleticism. Because they get to pick one person to represent all sports in Japan, and he was handpicked. Last time I checked, I didn't see Roman Reigns getting picked. if we do ours here, they ain't picking Roman Reigns, and they damn sure ain't picking Eddie Kingston, because his fat ass will be like carrying that torch into a Wendy's. But he would.
No, I got stuff. You know what? I want to leave Eddie Kingston alone. I'm sorry. I'm going to leave him alone. It's just something that I heard a certain somebody with glasses say.
I just had to. It was too obvious. Just the visual. I'm sorry. I had to say it because just the visual of Eddie Kingston running with the Olympic torch into a Wendy's is hilarious. I had to put that visual into the universe. So anyway, back to my prediction. I think I'm going to have to go. I think about it down to this way. Story-wise, it makes sense for Danielson to win. But Okada is and has always been, since Shinsuke Nakamura left, has been New Japan's golden boy. He is their John Cena. He is their top guy. Regardless of who's champion, he's their guy. And I do not see New Japan letting their top guy lose. I just don't see that happening, personally. Unless the only way I could see Danielson winning against Okada is some shenanigans. Other than that, I don't see him beating Okada. But I will say, this is definitely going to be match of the night. I'm going to call that right now. This entire card's going to be bangers, but this is going to be the jaw on the floor match. All of you guys who didn't know who Okada was will know who Okada is watching this match.
Yeah. So, and also technically it's the American Dragon versus King match, because in Tekken 7, his moveset is based after Okada. He even has like his ring gear, and he has the Rainmaker as one of the Rage Arcs. So, little fun fact to throw in there.
All right, guys. So next one we have here, the next match, the only match left that's not for some kind of title, is Adam Cole, baby, versus Tom Lawler.
Filthy Tom Lawler. Yep.
Ah, there we go. And so this is a tough one because I don't know, man. I don't know who to vote for this one. I don't like Adam Cole that much, but I know he's got like a big following and whatever. But Johnny may not like him either because Adam Cole took away Johnny's Britt Baker there, so I don't know. But I don't know. The thing is, I haven't seen Tom in action, so I don't know. Point flip, I'll go for Tom, for Filthy Tom, and we'll see what filthy tricks he does on Adam Cole. But that one really is a guesstimate for me. So you guys can get your more educated guesses there.
Well, Tom Lawler is more of a UFC / submission style wrestler. So he's more of he is a strong style wrestler, but he's more on the submission aspect. But he's hilarious. I love the guy so much. He literally comes out in Daisy Dukes. I'm not joking. He comes out in Daisy Dukes, and he's dead serious. He's really strong too. He comes out in Daisy Dukes, and he does this thing where he goes, and then he does his foot go, and then he goes around in a circle. You hear the crowd go, oh, and then he pulls his Daisy Dukes down. And he's got wrestling shorts that look like Daisy Dukes underneath. That's the kind of crazy he is. Like his team is called Team Filthy. Like he's that's why his name is Filthy Tom Lawler, because he's like, oh, he's such an asshole, but he's actually a really good wrestler. I just wanted to. I think I don't know. I'm gonna just. I agree. I love both of them. I think I'm gonna go with Cole. As much as I love Lawler, I think I'm gonna go with Cole with this one. Just kind of a coin flip for me.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that one. This one's actually a hard call because they are both really talented. But if it was a real genuine fight, yeah, Lawler would win because he's got an MMA background. His wrestling and submission style. He's basically a strong style fighter. But you've also got Cole and his personality and everything. I'm gonna say, as much as I want Lawler to win, it's gonna be Cole.
Whoever thought that William would be the contrarian tonight?
Gee, I don't know, man. I legit don't know, and I don't have a coin to flip. So I'll go with Adam Cole, baby, because I can do a bad accent, and I know you all just love my terrible accent, don't you, Mark?
No.
What do you think? Please forgive me, listeners out there. I don't mean any offense by my terrible accent. I know it's awful.
All right, so for this match, I'm not really too familiar with Tom Lawler, but I do think that Adam Cole is kind of like their AEW's favorite. I don't think he's just not going to be in a pay-per-view and just lose like that. I think it'll be an intense match, but I don't think Adam Cole's going to lose the match either. So that's my take on it.
All right, guys. The next match we got here. Now we're going to go into all the championship matches. There's a lot of them. So first we got Toni Storm versus Willow Nightingale, singles match for the AEW Women's World Championship. And I do want to say one of those things first before I go into this. I kind of wish that they would bring some Joshi type people into these things. I know they have little things here and there that they kind of sort of like for example, here it's kind of like Toni Storm, the current AEW Women's Champion, versus Willow Nightingale, who is the the Strong Women's Champ, New Japan Strong Women's Champ.
New Japan Strong Women's Champ. Yep.
Yeah, and the thing is, okay, yes, she is the current champ. That is true, but it's also like she's already in AEW. You know what I mean? And then last year I did the same thing. Let me look it up real quick before I forget who the person was. Give me just a second here. Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't add my. Sorry.
Oh, I'm just saying real quick, just an example. So last year was Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm. And again, it's Thunder Rosa representing AEW and Toni Storm because, hey, she was a member of Stardom once upon a time, whatever. And yes, that is true. But again, she's already an AEW person. And I hope that, like you said earlier with the Joshi potential thing, next year let's have an actual AEW girl versus an actual non-AEW Joshi girl. Let's have her go up against Konami if she's still in there, or anyone else, just... You know what I mean? Not someone from AEW. Not Maki Ito.
I'm surprised they didn't. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't use I honestly think it's because it's in Canada, because it's harder to get a traveler's visa from Japan to Canada than, weirdly enough, than it is Japan to America. I don't know why. It's like there's a lot of like, from what I've read, there's a lot of like visa restrictions when it comes to if you come from like North America to Canada, or you come from South America to Canada, they're really chill with it. But for some reason, when it comes to like anywhere in the East, they're like really, really restrictive. Like it takes like a year or two to process for some reason, for what I heard.
Let me get this straight. It is difficult for people from Japan to get into Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, it is easy for Canadians to get Japanese driver's licenses in Japan.
Yeah.
Go figure.
The system is weird. Anyway, but I was legitimately shocked by that too, because I was assuming, especially now that, you know, they have this whole thing going on with Stardom where they're trying to get more popular and they're adding more Stardom women and trying to establish something in the stateside with New Japan Strong and putting women on the show, New Japan Strong Championship, IWGP Women's Champion. I was expecting it to be Mayu Iwatani, the IWGP Women's Champion, versus Toni Storm. That's what I was assuming it was going to be, but then it feels like they just kind of slapdashed it with Willow, which I'm not. I love Willow. It's just really random. I agree with. I 100% agree with you, Mark. It makes no sense to me.
The only person I would have kind of forgiven, but technically it counts because she's on AEW, and I think she's still injured, right? But if they got Mercedes Moné, and what was the angle that because she's in New Japan, not WWE or whatever, maybe I would have forgiven that, but...
Well, that was the rumor, was that apparently originally at the Walter Pyramid at the show I was going to try to go to, but they sold out, was the one where they established the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. And the rumor was that it was actually supposed to be Mercedes Moné winning, and that was going to build up to Mercedes versus Jamie Hayter, because remember, Jamie Hayter got injured, so she had to drop the belt. And it was going to be established for that, not at Forbidden Door, but at All In. So that was the rumor, because technically Sasha already has a traveler's visa. So it would have been easier for her, since she's an American with a traveler's visa, for her to be the IWGP or the New Japan Strong Women's Champion to defend it. But because it's a Japanese wrestler to America, it's a lot more complicated. That's at least my guess. But I 100% agree with you. And I wish and I hope, let's all pray to the gods of wrestling, that we eventually do get more Joshi stateside, so we could see more Joshi style wrestling and actually get women's wrestling back to its roots of wrestling, and not just like, hey guys, let's sell cannons and wrestling pudding. Let's not have that anymore. We don't need it anymore. This isn't the 90s.
Oh, come on, Jack. Quit being a diva.
Wait. Women actually doing wrestling, but that's not good shit.
True.
Besides,
don't make Tony Khan...
Japanese girls, they're not even blonde. That's not good shit.
We need wrestling that will make Tony's eyes open, and not because of the drugs, but despite of the drugs. We need him to look at wrestling like, and then pull out some Visine.
We need him to
what drugs?
like,
what are you talking about? I don't have any drugs.
Put the He-Mans down, start collecting some Barbies, you know? Well, jacked Barbies, but you know. So anyways, for this match, yeah, you know what? If they want some real like Barbie representation, make some fucking Jade Cargill dolls. Like, there you go. But the Barbie brand, you know, the Barbie brand dolls, but it looks like Jade, but she still got the muscles and the abs. I mean, there's representation right there. So anyway, I'm gonna give it to Toni Storm. I still think it's like too soon for Willow to take the title. I know she's beloved and all that stuff, but I don't know. And not only that, but there's a slight chance that, like you said, Shenanigans We might have some Sorayas and some who's the other one? Oh, Ruby, lurking around with their spray paint, all their bullshit. So you never know. I'm gonna give it to Tony Storm, and we'll see. We'll see if she can hip attack her way to victory.
I don't know.
Now the question though, Jack, and maybe Jupes, if you know, in Japan, so it's not that squeamish. When they do attacks like that, do they call it like a butt attack or ass attack or something? I know in America they want to, for the kids, so it's a hip attack. Well, I don't know.
No,
that
is actually what it's called. It's called a hip attack. Because it's like, too? Oh, well, yeah. It is actually still called a hip attack. It's just, I think it's just because it's like, I don't know why I don't know why. Yeah, it's like most wrestlers don't really use it too often, but some do.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to kind of play devil's advocate on this one, and I'm gonna have to give it to Willow Nightingale because of something that Jack Knives said. Now they could go title for title with her and Athena later. Maybe Toni Storm could even win the belt back at some point, but I see them going ahead and going with this whole plot of you've got Athena, who is a powerhouse fighter, and you've got Willow, also a powerhouse fighter. Both of them have titles. Why don't we have them actually wrestle? That's my ploy on this. So that's why I think Willow Nightingale's actually going to win this match. Maybe she might lose to Toni Storm later. Maybe Athena might lose to Toni Storm later. Who knows? But I think just for now, Willow is going to win that title off of her. So I'm going to go with Willow Nightingale.
This is a tough one. On one hand, as Jack was saying earlier, a title versus title match with these two would be freaking awesome. And I would love to see that. But on the other hand, with her against Athena, Willow against Athena. But on the other hand, Toni really hasn't had this title as long. So, oh man, this is a tough one. I don't know. The fan in me wants to go for Willow, honestly. Because like I said, I would love to see that. But now I'm thinking, who's the main booker for Ring of Honor? Honestly. Does Tony have a lot of input in that? Because sometimes he does kind of, he's a little, he ain't right. So, he makes some questionable decisions. Yeah, like that. So he makes some questionable decisions. So I am just wondering who's in charge of most of the Ring of Honor stuff. Because even with Collision, I heard that Danielson is on creative for that. I don't know if that's true or not. So maybe it's going to be different from Dynamite and Rampage.
If that's the case, then that would make a lot of sense. If Danielson was in charge of creative of Collision, that would make a lot of sense. Honestly, I don't know who would be in charge of creative. Honestly, I know it sounds weird. The only person I could think of would more than likely be Jay Lethal. Because, he's the most established person in Ring of Honor. And granted, they're not really doing much with him. I'm talking about, behind the scenes, not, story-wise, like actually creative. It'd be either him or Mark. But more than likely, it would be Jay. Because I think with Mark, they're trying to kind of... Because I think Jay has more of an establishment in the wrestling industry for them to take his assistance because he knows what he's talking about. But that's just my guess.
Okay. So if that is the case, I will go with Willow. If that is not the case and it's actually Tony, I would say Toni Storm. But you know what? I want to stay with the fangirl in me. I want to say Willow. I'm really hoping she wins so that we can get somewhere down the line get an Athena versus Willow match, title versus title, powerhouse versus powerhouse, and I will be all over that. All right, Johnny, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, I also think, I don't know. Because yeah, I think currently, especially right now, Willow is more of like a big fan favorite in my opinion. So I think she's gonna win this match just for that fact alone. And not only that, but Willow is a powerhouse. And yeah, it would be good for her to win the match so that eventually we can get the real deal match with her versus Athena. So I think Willow is going to win this match. But of course, Toni Storm is she's a very good wrestler on her own as well. So I think this is going to be a very long, intense match. It'll take a while for, if Willow wins this match, I think she's going to barely win the match. It's going to be a challenge. So I'm actually looking forward to this match.
I haven't gone. But
I have a question. Wait, so it's just do you know what kind of match it's going to be?
I think it's just a regular match.
Just a regular singles match.
Okay.
I don't
I just
have too many like crazy gimmicks or anything like that.
I would love. It's funny. I love both of these girls, but the man in me also, at least once, would like to see both. I'd love to see Toni try to hit a hip attack on Willow, and the Willow hit a hip attack on Toni, because that's going to be a whole nother thing. Anyway.
Yeah. I'll allow it. Okay, I mean, the most gentle way I can say this is Toni Storm hits Willow with a hip attack. Willow gets back up. Willow hits Toni with the hip attack. Toni ain't getting back up.
Yeah, she
it might have to peel her off, and you do those cartoons sometimes.
I am like, oh my
if it was like a movie or something, watch Willow do like a flying hip attack, and Tony's like, maybe she's like barely getting up from an attack, and she sees it coming in slow motion. She's like, "Go, good God, that's a whole lot of booty." Bam! Last thing she sees, blackout.
I'll allow it. Oh, I love that. But I think that's the problem. You know what? Honestly, you know what? I'll side with Mark on this. I think Tony's going to win it. I mean, just because I'm like, but I love these. This is the problem. This is why this is such a good pay-per-view. I literally, all of these matches are matches I've been wanting to see. And I like the competitors both. And I'm like, damn it. I'm like, why do you make me play Sophie's Choice with wrestling? Oh, anyway. But honestly, no, I think between the two, with Toni and, I will say two things. One, with Toni and Willow, I look at it from a perspective of who can take the loss and recover better. And the sad thing of it is Willow is so good, she could recover and come back and, not really be affected. The problem is, and I don't know what the fuck is wrong with creative, where for some reason, when they give a woman the championship, they don't know what to do with her after that. And it's boggling my mind because they did it once with Toni. Now they're doing it again with Toni. And I'm like, you don't even know what the hell you're doing. Like, this is what I would book. Right now, what I would book is I would book Saraya coming in, interfering. Willow would win. Willow would lose. Toni would win. And then at the end of the match, she raises her. And then her and Ruby beat the shit out of Toni. And then Saraya challenges her at All In. That's what I think should happen, because it would also make sense because where is it? England. Saraya has home field advantage. It would make sense. And then basically like, and then Toni is between a rock and a hard place and doesn't know what to do. And then like she turns and somehow, because she's so nice, maybe Willow could have her back. Like that would be kind of crazy because it's like Willow could be like, I still forgive you. I don't know, something stupid like that. But honestly, I think I'll go with Mark and choose Toni Storm. I love them both though, but I would be happy either way. I would be happy if Willow won it too, but I don't think she's up to the level right now to where she should be. Yes, she's the New Japan Strong Women's Championship, and I'm happy as hell that she's doing that. she's representing New Japan and she's elevating that belt. But I'm also like, at the same point, it's a very different thing for the main company's championship as opposed to. Then again, I don't know. With AEW, the way they run their titles is very weird.
Yeah.
Because they simultaneously care and then they don't care.
I have to
I'm
say,
like,
though, at least Athena is having a blast as champion. At least she's doing good.
oh, I love her championship run now. She's calling everyone porcelain. She's literally just calling everyone a porcelain doll and then just smashing their face, curb stomping their faces on the belt. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go with Toni Storm.
All right. So next we have a 4-way championship for the AEW International title. We got Orange Cassidy, freshly squeezed. We got Zack Sabre Jr. We got Katsuyori Shibata, and we got Daniel Garcia. And this is kind of a tough one. Because the thing is, Orange Cassidy has been beating everyone, and he actually survived a 20-person plus him battle royale in junk. The only thing I have against both Zack Sabre Jr. and Shibata is that if either of them win the title, are they going to be in AEW every week defending it? Like, I don't think so. You know what I mean? So the only person I could kind of sort of see, unless they just really want to nail it home, and now Orange Cassidy's the new super guy, not Moxley, now it's Cassidy, right? I'm gonna give it to Daniel Garcia. He's the only person I could see that could possibly win. I wouldn't mind anyone winning except for Cassidy because it's boring and ridiculous now, you know. But I don't know. I just don't see Zack Sabre, unless there's some contracts that we don't know about or whatever behind the scenes. I don't see Zack or Shibata coming in week or maybe twice a week or whatever defending that title in AEW. I don't see that happening. And of course, if Daniel Garcia wins, then that means it's a win for the Jericho Appreciation Society, the epitome of sports entertainers. So anyways, I'll leave it to you guys.
Okay.
Well, I'll
I'm
let you
gonna have
go.
to play the devil's advocate on this one again. And sadly, I'm going to say it's going to be Orange Cassidy. And the only reason why is because of the fact, Zack Sabre and Shibata are both New Japan Pro wrestlers. They are not going to let those two guys walk away with an AEW title in New Japan. I don't see it. Even though they'll do it the other way around. Like they will let somebody let a new AEW guy win a New Japan Pro title and have it on his belt. You've seen it with Kenny, so we know this will happen. But the other way around, no, not as likely. I don't feel as likely that it would happen. And Danny Garcia, don't get me wrong, he's a good wrestler, but I don't think he's ready for title material just yet. So unfortunately, that's who they got left. They're stuck with Orange Cassidy for a little while longer.
Jack.
Well, I've been thinking a lot about this, and one of the things that the reason I keep hyping about the G1 Climax is because not only is it a tournament to determine who is the best wrestler on the planet, but it's also considered the toughest wrestling tournament on the planet, but it also allows for champions of any promotion in which they do enter to represent their championships, to represent their companies. And the thing is, AEW has never had a championship represented in the G1 Climax. So Zack Sabre Jr. is entering into the G1 Climax as the New Japan New Japan Television Champion. If he were to win the International Championship, he would be not only representing New Japan, but he would be a representation of AEW by being their International Championship, which is hilarious that he has a title called the International Championship, and who internationally does he wrestle? Realistically, almost nobody. I mean, yeah, there's one or two, but generally, like in AEW, like you don't get much more international than defending or having a title that says international in another nation. Like, I'm just saying. And also, it would establish a precedent for the possibility of a non-AEW wrestler having an AEW title. If Kenny Omega, who is an AEW wrestler, can have the IWGP United States Championship, why can it not go the other way around? Why can't the championship go to the other side? And it's the same way. I just think about it that way. I'm like, it's only fair. So in my hopes, I'm divided. And it's also, we have a very rare opportunity here. If you look at this match, we have an opportunity of a fatal four-way where we have a 2 out of 4 chances of the match ending with a double champion. Because if Shibata wins, he's the Ring of Honor Pure Champion and the International Champion. And if Zack Sabre wins, he'll be the New Japan Television and International Champion. So we have a possibility of 2 double champions at the end of this match. Now, that being said, it's almost to the point where it's no longer comical, it's pathetic, and it's becoming the same old meme of lol Cena wins. It's now becoming lol Cassidy punches. And it's like, okay, I guess. But it's run its course. Can we all agree, whether you like Cassidy or not, his title run has run his course. It's like he's done everything at this point. Like, I'm sure any one of you would gladly have the belt off of him.
Wait,
Yeah.
he's done everything, right? Has he thrown himself off a mountain yet while on a skateboard or something? I mean, I don't know. I may have missed that part.
Don't tempt him. I mean, here's a good example. This is technically his, I think, 26th title defense. I think something like that. Because they said it was like his 25th title defense was the 21 match. It was like his 25th title defense that he's had. Because remember, you got to remember, he's been defending it every single week, and he's been defending it sometimes twice a week. He is actually actively the most defended champion in AEW. So it would be a shock for New Japan to win the belt, and that would make international headlines, and it would be like, whoa, the G1 Climax, that means the AEW International Champion is going to be represented, which is also another factor that I'm going to lead into later in my predictions. But with that said, the fanboy in me wants Shibata to win, but the purist in me who loves wrestling as its entirety, I'm picking Zack Sabre Jr. as me personally.
Okay, all right. Okay, here's who I think is going to win. Where are my hands? Where are my hands, everyone?
I don't know. In your pockets? Oh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Cassidy.
Okay, now here's my reason for why I think he's going to win. Now, a while back in an interview that pissed some people off till they actually listened and paid attention to what he actually said, I think it was Matt Hardy said that he compared Orange Cassidy to Undertaker. Of course, people just went crazy over that, said, how dare you compare something like him to the great Undertaker? I think it was just a while back, it was like an interview. But he was saying that Orange Cassidy is like Undertaker in the, not like in wrestling style, but in the sense that he's like Tony's go-to guy. You know, he's loyal and all this other stuff. So if that is the case, and if Tony has any say or anything over this, I think Orange Cassidy is going to win in some way or form. I don't know. I don't want him to, because I'm sick of him walking around with his hands in his damn pockets, keep winning every doggone week. But this was the territory days. I said, this is cool, you know, because, you know, in those days, you didn't see, it wouldn't have gotten tiring because of how the territories worked. That's awesome. But nowadays, it's just too much. And he just had it too long. He needs to go home or something. Go throw himself off his mountain like he wants to, you know?
Well, plus the fact that, I mean, it was different in the territory days because I think the title was defended like once every like 2 to 3 months at that.
Yes, that's what I mean. It's a little tiring seeing only Orange Cassidy defend it every week and then constantly win. But I think if they made like built it up a little better, and it's like, hey, what has he been up to? You know, or something like how they're doing with MJF sometimes. You know, he doesn't defend it all the time, but when he does, they make it like, oh, I look forward to see how it's going to happen. Orange Cassidy is oversaturating the damn thing. I can't take him anymore. I don't know. I just want it all for him, but I don't think it's going to happen.
The number one killer of wrestling is stagnating when it's boring. When it's boring, that's the worst thing you can be in wrestling. You don't want anything boring and repetitive. You want to change stuff just enough. You could keep doing stuff that works, but you can't do it so much that it wears itself out. You need to be able to make, it's like the equivalent of running a restaurant with well-established meals, and you could try different recipes as opposed to McDonald's. Sure, it's reliable, but no one's going to choose McDonald's as their go-to place of all time. Gun to your head, if anyone on the planet puts a gun to their head and said, favorite restaurant of all time, McDonald's, pull the trigger, because they are not living. Period. It's as simple as that. It's the same principle with wrestling. You cannot be repetitive and stagnant or boring. It becomes like, look what's going on a side. Look what's going on in WWE. The fans are turning on the WWE creative because Roman Reigns is never wrestling. And he's their top guy. I'm like, it's the same issue we're having in AEW. Like, clearly it's not working. Change the channel.
That's how I feel. Yeah, that's how I feel regarding Orange Cassidy. Like you said, personally, I would want Shibata to win because I like Shibata, but I really like Shibata. But I just have a feeling that Orange Cassidy is just going to win this because for some strange reason, Tony is in love with this dude. I don't know what the deal is, but I don't know. So I'm going to turn this over to Johnny. I have ranted long enough. So, there you go, Johnny. What do you think?
Yeah, this is actually a conflicting match because I almost know for a fact who's gonna win the match, but at the same time, what's a better time than to actually surprise the hell out of the audience if Daniel Garcia wins this match? That'd be like a holy shit moment. And not only that, but Daniel Garcia is actually getting better and better. Every time he fights in the match, he's getting way better. Yeah. He's actually a very talented wrestler, and he's very, very heelish. I like his whole gimmick and how he's like rude to the fans and all that. Like he's very, he acts like a bully type. So I kind of like the gimmick of Daniel Garcia personality wise. I like the way he fights. And I don't know, man. I mean, it'd be cool. It'd be good if he actually won this match. Not only to take away the monotony of always seeing freaking how you know that guy's name?
Orange Cassidy.
Time. But and not only that, but Orange Cassidy is boring because not only is it, I mean, at first it was okay. It was like his gimmick or whatever. But after a while, I was like, dude, like do something else. Like you're always winning the match the same way, and it's bad enough that a lot of people are always like, oh, wrestling's fake, but the bad thing is that people like Orange Cassidy makes it like that. It makes people really say wrestling is fucking fake because of him.
Thank you. Now you get where I'm coming from. I said there's a limit to comedy wrestling, and that limit is you cannot make a comedy wrestler your top guy. I'm sorry to say that you can't. This is what happens because it becomes boring and stupid and predictable. This is why there's a reason Doink the Clown was never the Intercontinental Champion. There's a reason.
Well, maybe because Doink, who started off like the It Clown, had to become a comedic figure because somebody gave the children. Grow a spine.
And also, back to that interview, I will say, first of all, I'm not going to ever take Matt Hardy's advice when it comes to wrestling. But second of all, I would not consider Orange Cassidy the Undertaker of AEW. That's beyond stupid. Here's what I would consider Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy is the Kofi Kingston of AEW. What I mean by that is Kofi Kingston is the guy you turn to and go, hey, we need a person to fill in the match. Let's call Kofi. Because Kofi will put out a good match against whoever the hell he fights. He doesn't need to win the belt.
But I don't think Matt was even talking about wrestling style or wrestling in general. He was just saying...
He means reliability. I get that.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he was saying. Like, oh yeah, Tony just go to Orange Cassidy and he just does something. That's the only way he seems to be referring to. He didn't say anything about wrestling or wrestling style.
I get what you mean. I get what he meant, but I think what he like I said, also, I wouldn't even say Cassidy is like that either. Cassidy isn't necessarily his go-to guy to get a match. That would probably be Jericho. I'd hate to say it. It'd probably be Jericho. If you wanted a guy who's like, oh shit, we need someone who could fight in a good main event, Jericho. And you'd be like, okay.
Sure not Moxley?
Or not Moxley.
I thought you were going to say Moxley.
No.
I forgot about
Moxley will be like, okay, but only if I can bring my box of blades. Only in that regard.
I can blade.
Moxley, it's a tea party. You don't need to. I know. So I do bring 3 or 4 blades? How many do I need?
Oh my
just going
God!
to a children's birthday party,
and it's like, and then you like have like like maybe biscuits or something with a little butter on the table.
Mommy, why is the tea red? Mommy, why is the tea red?
No, but yeah, that's probably like you said. That's probably what he was trying to say. It just didn't translate well, which is why people that heard it thought that Matt was nuts. Yeah. And I think Matt was just trying to put Orange Cat where ain't no trying.
I know what he means.
He was.
I see what he means. He is a reliable guy. Also, the other thing was with Undertaker, it wasn't just the fact that he was reliable. Undertaker is and has always been established as a backstage general. He's a guy that everyone turned to go, I don't know what to do. Who is that guy? So like, good example, Ring of Honor, a backstage general, RIP, was Jay Briscoe. Jay Briscoe was the guy who backstage, if you had a rookie, if you had a person who didn't know what to do, they'd always say, go to Mark, go to Jay, or go to Jay Lethal. One of those 3 guys will help you out. And then they'd always say that. They say, go to Jay Briscoe, go to either the Briscoes or go to Lethal. They'd always say that because they were guys who you knew, good or bad, you needed advice, you needed an opinion, they would be the guy. Cassidy is not that guy. Cassidy's not the guy who you're going to go, man, I mean, could you imagine Tony Khan going up to Cassidy for advice? Realistically, like,
where can I get my next? Do you know another person I can go to? My
character.
Tony Khan going like, it's just, it feels like my dad doesn't respect me, and Cassidy be like, yeah. He's like, I don't know. I get that vibe that I may be over in my head. Sucks. Like that W.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm really going off on a tangent here. I'm so sorry. But I will say one more thing about Orange Cassidy. The main thing I do still like about Orange Cassidy is his theme. I really do enjoy his theme. But everything else about him is just, I want to take a nap.